Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Okay, guys, I just watched a few days ago the how Christianity spread, and now I'm doing the how Islam spread, or became a global religion. Let's do it. Preemptive, like epic history. Need I say more? Geez, such a bad intro. I'm kind of tired right now, but no, I'm not tired. I'm ready. I was just looking around right now for my headset, and I forgot that I have them on right now, so great intro. Let's learn, guys. My name's Connor. If you're new, original link to the video from Epic History, top of the description. Let's go. How Islam became a global religion.
Islam, the second most practiced religion on earth, emerges in the 7th century from what many at the time consider a backwater, the desert region of Arabia. The founder of Islam is Muhammad, a merchant born around 570 in the city of Mecca. In about 610,
570?
in the cave of Hira, he receives a series of revelations from the angel Jibreel, known in English as Gabriel.
Oh, I learned, by the way, that Jesus is actually in the Quran, and as seen as like a prophet in Islamic tradition. They just don't see him as Christians see him as like the son of God and whatnot. That was something cool that I learned.
Gabriel.
Okay, I gotta pausing already.
Jibreel.
Just okay.
In about 610, in the cave of Hira, he receives a series of revelations from the angel Jibreel, known in English as Gabriel. These revelations later become the basis of the holy book known as the Quran. The spiritual truth of Muhammad's message is a matter of faith, but his life and the impact of his message are to have profound historical significance. At first, Muhammad preaches privately to a select group of family and friends in Mecca. His message centers on the oneness of God, the need for moral reform, and the concept of Islam, submission to God. In time, the followers of this new faith will be known as Muslims.
So, was Muhammad prior to the creation of Islam and this right here, was he a part of some of the previous Arabian religions, or was he never really a part of any of them?
Muhammad then begins to preach in public and gains loyal followers known as the Sahaba. Muhammad's preaching brings him into conflict with members of his own tribe, the Quraysh. The two sides are soon in open war. Around this time, the concept of jihad begins to take shape. Jihad comes to have two meanings. The first, to strive to live in accordance with God's will, through personal effort and moral integrity. The second, physical acts of war, sanctioned by God. After years of conflict with the Quraysh, Muhammad and his followers prevail. And by Muhammad's death in 632, much of Arabia has joined the movement he founded. One of Muhammad's closest companions, Abu Bakr, is chosen as the first caliph, or successor to the Prophet.
So, and this is the bit. It happened very early, obviously, but this is when the big Sunni Shia divide becomes, right, of who's the rightful successor to Muhammad.
It is under his leadership and that of his successors that Islam will erupt out of Arabia to transform the Middle East and beyond. Abu Bakr and his successor Omar send Arab armies to attack the two great powers of the age,
Byzantine and
the
Sassanid.
Sasanian Empire and Eastern Roman Empire. Both are worn down by decades of conflict against each other, and Arab armies strike like a thunderbolt. One by one, the great cities of the Levant, Syria, Egypt, and Persia
Jesus Christ.
fall to Muslim forces.
All in that short time?
The people who live in these lands are predominantly a mix of Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians. These non-believers are treated as subjects by their new Arab rulers and pay taxes to them, but they can worship freely. There are few forced conversions and little active preaching of Islam, and so the religion spreads slowly at first. Until now, the Quran has been primarily an oral tradition, supported by various written compilations. The exact circumstances are not clear, but during the reign of Caliph Uthman, the Quran is organized into a single text. This remains the basis for the holy book used around the world today. In 656, Uthman is murdered. The Prophet's cousin and son-in-law, Ali, is elected the new caliph. But others support Uthman's cousin, the governor of Syria, Muawiyah. This conflict triggers Islam's first fitna, or civil war. It is the root of the later division between Shiite and Sunni Muslims.
So Shiite and oh,
Yeah, from Shiat Ali, the party of Ali.
okay, so Shiite is Shia.
Sunni, from Allah Sunnah, the people of the Prophet's way. In 661, Ali is assassinated by a group who become known as the Khawarij. The Umayyad dynasty seize power, moving the capital of the Caliphate to Damascus. In 680, a rebellion by Ali's son Hussein ends at Karbala, when he and his small band of followers are massacred by Umayyad forces. It is a key moment in the transformation of Shi'ism from political movement to a distinct branch of Islam. Shias will look to the leadership of Muhammad's direct descendants. Sunnis will look back to the time of the Prophet and his companions.
And so, unlike Christianity, and are there subdivisions of these, like there are subdivisions of a lot of Christian sects, especially in Protestantism?
The Islamic world, riven by warring factions, plunges into a second fitna. But after 12 years of civil war and turmoil, great new conquests will follow. By 692, the Umayyads regain control of the Islamic Caliphate and resume
And would eventually invade Spain,
their
right?
conquest of North Africa. Islam spreads quickly among the Berber tribes. And it is a Berber convert, Tariq, who leads Umayyad forces into Iberia. En route, he gives his name to Jabal Tariq, the Rock of Gibraltar.
Pillars
He
of
defeats
Hercules.
the Visigoth king, Roderick, and goes on to conquer much of Spain. The Umayyad Empire now stretches from the Atlantic coast to modern Pakistan. Most of its
That's crazy.
Population remains non-Muslim. But there are now a growing number of converts across North Africa, Persia, and Central Asia, known as Mawali. They are treated as inferiors by the Arab elite, stoking resentment. And in 747, rebellion erupts in Khorasan. The Abbasid family, claiming descent from the Prophet's uncle Abbas, claim leadership of this revolt. In 750...
And so this is why Iran today is of Shia denomination.
They defeat the Umayyads at the Zab River, then systematically wipe out almost the entire dynasty. Only one Umayyad prince, Abd al-Rahman, escapes to Al-Andalus, where he establishes the independent emirate of Cordoba.
Where's Granada?
In 756.
Golden Age.
The Abbasids build a new capital, Baghdad, which becomes a great center of learning. This is the dawn of what is often called
Islamic Golden Age.
Golden Age, with remarkable advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine,
Algebra.
and engineering.
Algebra.
Shiism, now a fully distinct branch of Islam, continues to spread across the Caliphate, despite sporadic repression by its Sunni rulers. Sects emerge within Shiism, including Twelver Shiism, Ismaili Shiism, and Zaidi Shiism.
Okay, that answers my question.
Sufi movements, which focus on inner spirituality and detachment from worldly distractions, also emerge in this period. Though their early
I love when my questions are answered very quickly later in the video.
history is uncertain. Also emerge in this period, though their early history is uncertain. By the 900s, much of Persia, Egypt, and Syria has turned to Islam. There are practical as well as spiritual benefits from becoming Muslim. Adopting the faith of the ruling elite offers advantages in business, networking, and status. But these regions still remain religiously diverse, with large Christian and Jewish communities, as well as several smaller sects. For many years, Muslim traders have been crossing the semi-arid region known as the Sahel into sub-Saharan Africa. Among their purchases, enslaved Africans to be sold across the Caliphate. Following these trade routes, Islam gradually spreads south. In time, as rulers and elites adopt Islam, cities like Timbuktu, Gao, and Kano will become centers of Islamic learning and culture. Muslim merchants
Is this where Mansa Musa is from Timbuktu?
also cross the Arabian Sea and establish trading hubs,
I gotta shut up.
Islamic learning and culture. Muslim merchants also cross the Arabian Sea and establish trading hubs along the East African coast in modern Kenya, Tanzania, and Zanzibar.
Mozambique?
These ports become
Is Zanzibar later Mozambique?
centers of commerce, connecting East Africa to a wider Indian Ocean trading zone.
And does that explain a lot of Indian populations in these areas? From Madagascar and Mauritius, Comoros, Seychelles, and in the areas of Kenya and Mozambique and Tanzania.
Such complex, long-range commercial networks, of which the famous Silk Roads are also part, help Islam to spread deeper into Central, South, and Southeast Asia.
Turks. who I believe are steppe people in origin.
In Central Asia, a semi-nomadic Turkic tribe called the Seljuks converts to Islam under the guidance of their leader, Seljuk Beg. The Seljuks carve out their own empire across the Middle East, conquering city after city. In 1055, they capture Baghdad,
Anatolia
becoming
eventually.
de facto rulers of the Islamic Caliphate. Under the Seljuks, Islamic political power and religious authority are separated. Seljuk sultans hold military and political power.
I wonder if they're going to mention Muslim conquest.
Religious leadership is provided by the caliphs and Islamic scholars known as ulama. In 1071, Seljuk Sultan Alp Arslan defeats the Byzantine Empire at Manzikert, paving the way for Muslim conquest of Anatolia. But Christendom strikes back. Pope Urban calls for a holy war to liberate the Holy Land. And in 1099, Crusaders storm Jerusalem. Crusader states are established in the region, but remain areas of mixed faith. It is a period of political fragmentation in the Muslim world. Much of the old empire is now ruled by regional dynasties and sects. Seljuks, Ghaznavids, Almoravids, and Fatimids. But in the 12th century, a Kurdish general known as Saladin succeeds in uniting Egypt, Syria,
Baldwin?
and Iraq.
They spit, sorry.
In
All right.
1187, he recaptures Jerusalem, a prestigious victory for Saladin and a turning point in the war against the Crusaders. Since the 8th century, Muslim merchants and Sufi mystics have traveled the Silk Roads, deep into Central and Eastern Asia.
Uh-oh, Mongol time.
The number of converts to Islam grows steadily. Among them, Berk Khan, grandson of Mongol conqueror Genghis Khan. Berk is said to have encountered a caravan of Muslim merchants at Bukhara and been persuaded by their piety. For now, most Mongols remain loyal to their animist beliefs. In 1258, Berk's cousin Hulagu launches a devastating campaign against Muslim lands that leads to the destruction of Baghdad and execution of the Caliph. But with time, Muslim faith and culture will conquer the Mongols. Within a century, 3 of the largest Mongol Khanates, from Russia to India, take Islam as their new religion. In Southeast Asia, centuries of contact with Muslim traders is also accelerating
Indonesia?
the spread of Islam. Around 1267,
I know that, I think I know, correct me if I'm wrong, that nowadays the most Muslims in any country are in Indonesia.
on the island of Sumatra, the Samudra Pasai Sultanate is founded, which becomes a center of Islamic learning and trade.
This is awesome because I've always wondered how Indonesia became Islamic in the first place, and this is explaining why.
During this period, a new Sufi order emerges in the Sultanate of Rum. The Mevlevi order, who become famous for their whirling dervish ritual, seek spiritual enlightenment and gain steadily in popularity. The 14th century sees rival dynasties vying for control in the Muslim heartlands.
The Ottoman
The Mamluks in Egypt,
Empire coming.
the Ilkhanate in Persia, and the many Turkic states of Anatolia. of which one will soon emerge
Ottoman.
as perhaps the greatest Muslim empire of them all. The 1300s
Holy.
see the dawn of a mighty new Muslim empire. Osman I rules a small Turkic state in northwest Anatolia. Through a series of stunning conquests.
I'd love to know if anyone knows. Question, guys. What is with the Ottoman headdresses, and where did they come from?
His success. Through a series of stunning conquests, his successors forged the Ottoman Empire in modern Turkey.
And in 100 years, less than 100 years, they're about to take Constantinople, rename it Istanbul.
The Ottomans later advance into the Balkans, conquering Bulgaria, Serbia, and Bosnia.
And
over time,
Istanbul.
Many locals convert to Islam, attracted by economic benefits, legal privileges, and roles in Ottoman government. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II conquers Constantinople, the former heart of the Eastern Roman Empire and of Orthodox Christianity, becomes an Islamic Ottoman capital.
I hear that this is kind of a giant cause of the Renaissance, in that a lot of, the very intellectual people residing in the Eastern Roman Empire now flee towards the Italian peninsula and carry their knowledge and whatnot, leading to the Renaissance. I'm sure there are other reasons for the Renaissance coming up, and also the Age of Exploration, also caused by the Ottoman Empire now cutting off, being a middleman and hyping up prices, where the Western Europeans now have to rely on other means of bypassing the Ottoman Empire to get the Eastern world, East Asian goods, which kind of goes towards you have in 39 years. No, they're 41 years. Or no, 92 of 39 years where you have Columbus sailing, and it's like, it seems like it's connected.
In Southeast Asia, Islam's influence continues to alter the religious landscape. The ruler of Malacca converts in 1414. He takes the title Sultan Iskandar Shah and makes Islam the state religion. Through commerce and alliances, the new sultanate helps Islam to spread further in the region. In 1478, the Demak Sultanate emerges as the first major Muslim state in Java. Meanwhile, in Europe,
Fun fact, guys, today, this small island right here, relatively small, compared to Russia, today has a larger population on this island than all of Russia today.
In Java. Meanwhile, in Europe, Granada, the last Muslim stronghold in Iberia, falls to Christian forces in 1492. It marks the end of almost 8 centuries of Muslim rule in Spain. Spanish Muslims and Jews face forced conversion to Catholicism and ultimately expulsion. In 1501, Shah Ismail I conquers Persia. He is the founder of the Safavid dynasty and declares Twelver Shi'ism the new state religion. It is why today Iran is an overwhelmingly Shia country.
What are the other Shia places? I think Yemen is Shia as well. But I can't think of other places.
1517, Ottoman Sultan Selim I conquers Egypt and the Hejaz. He now controls Islam's two holiest sites, at Mecca and Medina, and declares himself the new caliph.
It's so interesting now seeing that, like, this area, which wasn't seen as very important, obviously some trade in this area would be nice in getting the Strait of Hormuz, but it's funny how, like, the area that wasn't conquered is like the most profitable area because of oil today, and would be most sought after, like, right here. You know, the oil-rich parts of Saudi Arabia, you have the oil-rich parts of Kuwait, of Kuwait, of Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, and yeah, it's just funny to me how today the most lucrative parts of this area aren't cared about really today, just because oil hasn't been discovered and isn't seen as this important area, because they don't yet have the machinery and whatnot to take advantage of it. So that's kind of funny to me.
The title will be held by Ottoman sultans for the next 400 years. In 1526, Babur, a descendant of Chinggis Khan, defeats the Delhi Sultanate. He lays the foundations of the Muslim Mughal Empire that will rule over much of India and its Hindu majority for the next 2 centuries.
Also, I'm sure this connects to eventually the what do they call the term for the much centuries later of the when the British leave, and what's it called? The part where there's giant violence between Muslim and Hindu populations eventually after the British leave, and partitioning this area into Pakistan, West Pakistan, East Pakistan, and West Pakistan, modern day modern day Afghanistan and modern day Bangladesh. And so the partition of India, or that's not the word. So this shows the beginning of that conflict and the amount of Muslim presence in India that would later lead to that.
But elsewhere, there are signs that Muslim power is beginning to wane. The Russians defeat the Khanates of Kazan, Astrakhan, and Sibir, while Ottoman naval power suffers a first major check at the Battle of Lepanto. The high water mark of Ottoman expansion comes a century later at the failed siege of Vienna.
And the winged hussars arrived.
From around this point on, the two great Muslim empires, the Ottoman and Mughal, find themselves increasingly challenged by internal divisions and external foes. In 18th century Arabia, the reformist Wahhabi movement is born, characterized by suspicion of many traditional Islamic beliefs and practices. It acquires political influence.
Guys, I'm really hot and I just want to move my fan.
Through alliance with the Al Saud family, rulers of the first Saudi state.
That's better.
It acquires political influence through alliance with the Al Saud family, rulers of the first Saudi state. The 19th century is an age of rampant European colonialism. Its targets include several Muslim countries, such as Algeria, Libya, Egypt, and Sudan. In several places, Islam becomes a powerful aspect of resistance to Christian colonizers. Colonialism
Splitting
also
up Africa.
contributes to the birth of a new fundamentalist movement, Salafism, which seeks a return to the practices of the early Muslim community. Some of its followers will turn to armed jihad to challenge those it sees as occupiers and oppressors of Muslims.
Mecca. Is this the Dome of the Rock? I forget. I forget the name of this.
Following Ottoman defeat in World War I, Turkish leader Kemal Atatürk attempts to steer the country towards a more secular future.
This is seen as like, is it as like the George Washington equivalent of Turkey?
As part of the process, in 1924, he dissolves the Ottoman Caliphate, a title Turkish rulers had claimed for 4 centuries. The political earthquakes of the 20th century, world wars, communist revolution, and decolonization profoundly alter the political map of Islam. In August 1945, Indonesia declares independence from Dutch colonial rule.
And these lines here still sort of... this is Ethiopia, right? These still sort of seem like the boundaries between Christian Africa in these areas and Muslim Africa in the Sahel. There's not much in the Sahara, right? But then in northern Africa as well.
5. Indonesia declares independence from Dutch colonial rule. It becomes home to the world's largest Muslim population. As the British Empire recedes, it leaves behind new divisions. In 1947, the partition of India creates the Muslim-majority states of West and East Pakistan, which later becomes Bangladesh. In 1948, the new Jewish state of Israel is founded in what had been British Mandate Palestine. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution...
So Palestine was always an area called in here. I think it was Philistine during Roman rule, and then past Roman rule was Palestine under the Ottomans, and then the British and French, or mainly the British.
Overthrows the... In 1979, the Iranian Revolution overthrows the Shah and establishes a Shia Islamic Republic.
The more I learn about American influence in Iran, the more I see how much we screwed them over.
Led by Ayatollah Khomeini. In the late 20th century, historic colonial ties and economic migration lead to the growth of Muslim communities across Western Europe and North America. Muslims become an integral part of the Western cultural landscape.
America?
Just as on the global stage, dangerous new tensions emerge. In 2001, a militant Islamic network called Al-Qaeda attacks the Twin Towers in New York. Suddenly, across much of the West, Islam is seen as a threat, vilified by some media and politicians. A gulf grows between how most Muslims see their faith and some perceptions in the West. Tensions between religious and political extremists persist in the West to the present day. There have also been serious conflicts between the state and some Muslim groups in Russia,
Chechnya,
Myanmar, ongoing persecution in China, and an escalating conflict in Israel-Palestine. These are not the first crises in Islam's 1400-year history, a period in which the religion has shown incredible endurance and adaptability.
I believe it's the most fastest
Carried
growing
by
one, too.
traders and conquerors, it has traveled to distant lands, from Iberia to Indonesia, uniting peoples and inspiring the rise of great civilizations. Whether seen through the lens of faith or history, the rise of Islam is one of the most remarkable journeys in our collective past. Its legacy lives on in the 1.9 billion Muslims on Earth today. Do you enjoy epic history videos and want to support our...
Very much I do. I always want to make sure I check, Bunker Hill. I was in that one. The patreon.com / epic history. I also think they'll have a link to... No, that was just Epic History channel. I love Epic History, my favorite history channel. And what is it with the Ethiopia area here? Are they mostly Christian, or do they have their own African religions they follow? And it does seem like Iran, parts of Iraq, maybe Azerbaijan are the Shiite strongholds, and then all the rest are Sunni. Very fascinating. Again, I'm not a big religious person. I'm not Christian. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Muslim. I hate the term atheist, really, or agnostic, because I don't believe in any religion. I guess that makes me an atheist. But atheist can be just as, like, hard line that I don't like. So yeah, I guess. Ooh, and Albania. And it's curious how, and Bosnia. It's curious how the strongholds of the area that all the way up to Vienna of Ottoman conquest in the Balkans, that the areas that are in Bosnia and Albania are the ones where Islam still has, is the main religions there. And I'd like to know why. Were these just where more Muslim concentration from Ottoman Empire, former territory, just held firmly? I don't know. Love y'all. Hope you're all doing well. Would appreciate any comments down below. If I said anything incorrect or you think is wrong or miscued, please call me out. I would love nothing more. I'm just trying to learn with you guys. Any comments at all, answering any questions I had. You guys are awesome at that. And I hope I'll see you guys next time. We'll keep on learning. Bye, guys.